In this video, I'm going to break down the biggest misconception behind snowboard jumping. It's something so subtle, so small, I've never talked about it, I've never heard anyone else talk about it, and it only occurred to me because someone commented and asked, Tavis, why are you taking off the jumps with your chest slightly open? And they're referring to this position right here. They're like, shouldn't you be completely squared off like the person on the left, stacked over the center of your board? And this got me thinking, because I've always heard, yes, you want to be completely squared, and I sort of just assumed I was making a mistake. But thinking about it more, I came to a realization that it's not about being in the squared position. Instead, your jumping position should be the position you like riding in, you like being in the air in, and really importantly, you like landing in. And this opens up the avenues for progression, how you should look at snowboarding, and there's so many interesting nuances that came to me with this realization, and we're going to go and talk about them all in this video. How you can train it, how you can implement it, the impacts it's having on your riding, and why riding in a too stiff, rigid position is actually really holding back your snowboarding. So let's go and start with what is opening the chest on the board. So when you're riding, if you're riding this completely squared position, there's a couple things that are going to be problematic about it. If we zoom in here, we can see that the front arm's closed off. This is going to make it so it's less natural to have the head spotting forward. Because the head's less natural here, it's going to be in an uncomfortable position, and that's going to make it more likely that you don't have proper upper body. And the other thing that's really happening with people is being completely centered over the board. You want to be centered and you want to be balanced. So what's balanced? Centered is the general train of thought for this. But this isn't true. Jumping isn't a popping up, lifting motion. Instead, it's a rocking motion, a flowing motion to go and channel your energy from your back foot all the way up through your snowboard. Let me go and explain this really quick because it's really important. When I'm jumping a snowboard, I'm not trying to go and extend both legs at the same time and lift off. Instead, I'm rocking from my back foot up to my front foot. This next video will be a better demonstration. So look at here. See how I'm shifted towards my back leg and my upper body is a little centered, but the hips are shifted towards this back foot. This is because when you're jumping, it's really important to make sure you're leaving off the tail of your snowboard. But then in order to compensate for this, I now go and pull my upper body forward towards the nose of my snowboard to compensate. And this is what pulls me naturally into the landing of the jump. So that's how jumping works. It starts by being sunk up towards your back foot, and then as you lift off, you pull your upper body forward to compensate. So it's a rocking, fluent motion, not some rigid double leg extension trying to jump up like you would for a box jump. Instead, it's flowing through, and yes, I'm still pushing with both my legs here, but I'm staggering them. Look at the bend in my front leg and my back leg. See how my front leg is more extended than my back leg here? And as that happens, I'm shifting my upper body forward, getting it over the nose. And this is a flexible motion. The steeper the jump, the more I'll need to pull my upper body forward in order to compensate for the angle and to meet up with the landing. Where if it's something like a roller, you don't need to do this nearly as much. But it's this rocking from the back foot up to the front foot that's maximizing the use of a snowboard, maximizing the range of motion of the body, letting me get maximum pop. And now let's talk about opening up that upper body. So it's true, if your upper body is too open when jumping, it's going to lead to some bad things. And the main thing is your board will try to sync up with your upper body as you leave the lip. So watch here. I'm taking off with my upper body a little bit too open, and because of that, my board tries to go and sync up. See how it shifted this way? But because I'm in such a flexible, powerful position I'm so comfortable in, I'm able to go and readjust it and pull it back through. So you do need to be careful about keeping your chest too open. Like if your chest was completely open 90, you'd land 90. But this isn't only a bad thing, it's actually something that you can really use for side hits, jumping, the whole 9 yards. It's not a mistake, it's a tool. And the biggest use case we can really see for this is a hip. So watch this, I'm coming in this neutral position, and as I extend up, flowing through the motion, my upper body is rotated even more than off that jump. And this is because it's an angled landing. So the landing is on this angle here. So what am I doing? I'm preemptively setting my upper body into a position that it wants to be in on the landing of the jump. This makes it so my legs will naturally come and sync up with my board, and that's why I'm able to effortlessly hit this grab, make no adjustments, and land on the perfect angle. I used this principle of the legs trying to match the upper body to my advantage. But it's also fine line and you don't need to worry about it too much. So like here, my upper body's just slightly open, hips slightly open, but this is a comfortable motion for me. I can pop up, extend, and we can see the board slightly rotated to match up, but because I'm keeping this good hinge in my upper body, good control in the torso, I'm able to go and make a micro adjustment to just pull it in, and it's not a big deal. So instead of being rigid where I have to be completely locked in, like if you're trying to be completely 90 here and stiff, you don't have any room for air. If you're a little bit open, a little bit too closed, it's going to result in a fall. That's why we want this more natural riding position we can move in and execute within. So let's talk about this position a little bit more, and then I'll give you a way to go and train it at home so you can actually go and get this going throughout the winter, because that's a thing with like movements that go on a spectrum, is it takes muscle memory and development. And the biggest issue we have with what I'm teaching here, trying to go and hit jumps in your natural riding position, is the fact that most people have a natural riding position that's not intuitive words to good jumping. So here, look at this guy's riding position. He's coming in, shifted over the front foot, back knee coming in, super stiff and super rigid. This is how he's riding a snowboard, but this isn't what you want to be in the air. And it's resulting in when he jumps, he has a couple things happening. First, he's 2-foot jumping because he doesn't have that back foot motion. He's not sinking it up. So as he extends, both legs are extending at the same time, and we see the board leaving off the lip early. In this one, that's an even more prime example. He's even taller, leaned more over the balls of his feet, so as he pops, it gets exaggerated, and now he's leaning in this tall position. What else are we noticing here? His extended position is making him completely tall. This is making it so he doesn't have that hinge in the upper body, and without that hinge, he's not able to pull his legs up to him. So he's needing to go and change his riding position into his air position, and then he's trying to change it again into his landing position because that's his riding position. And that's really the money and the cool situation of this, is we're trying to make it so our takeoff, watch this. So actually, let's go a step back. Look at my heel position. See how I'm on my heels here, pulling the upper body forward, keeping that hinge, keeping it so it's in this very similar position I want to be jumping. This makes it so when I rock over to my toe edge, my upper body's not shifting at all. Instead, it's just naturally into this perfect jumping position. Now I load it slightly to the back leg, stay calm, stay neutral, and look at how I can just pop up. And even with this one, slightly late, not pulling the chest forward, because I'm holding this nice calm position, getting the full pop off the tail, I can then go and get myself into the landing. Oh, we have this one that actually really demonstrates it really well. So here on the left, this jump ideally wouldn't be that good. It's like reaching for a grab too soon, board getting angled, not really going, but look at how comfortable he's coming into the landing. Is this a fluke? No, it's because even though he's making a lot of mistakes, his actual jumping position is the same as his in the air position, what's the same as his landing position. So he's moving only within a position that he's comfortable in, and that's giving him so much more power. But now let's combine that with the other things we were talking about. See how I'm going and keeping my upper body a little bit open, comfortable. Then I'm going hitting maximum extension as I pull my upper body forward. This gives me complete air control. Then I bring in the legs, then I hit the grab, then I can hit the poke. And as I land, landing in the super powerful spot. And then here, we can go and talk about the landing a little more. On the left, watch how he hits the landing. See how as he lands, he's landing very front foot heavy, and this is causing him to go and collapse and start leaning forward and breaking at the waist. And if this happened on a bigger jump or on sketchier snow, it could result in a fall. And this is because he's not setting himself up for success. Because he's reaching for the grab early, it's not giving him that good pop, that good arc, and he's not going and readjusting his upper body. Instead, it's staying in that same down position. Let's look at mine here. Watch my upper body very closely. Crouch towards the back leg, coming up, extending towards the front foot, grabbing with that upper body, still pulling towards the front foot, but as I land, boom, dead centered neutral position, pushing that nose down, and then see how it rocks into this nice stack position. So instead of having individual hinge, individual pop. Instead, it's moving all within this comfortable spectrum. So that's the theory, that's what we're talking about, but how do we train this and how do we utilize it? Instead of thinking about riding like this, I want to have my hips slightly more open because that makes it so it's easier to sink towards that back leg. Try this at home. Just be in this position, see how hard it is to sink to the back and then pull forward. Or if we just open those hips a little bit, it's a lot easier to get this control and get this pop while keeping this hinge forward. And this is going to be the serious key, is unlocking a riding position that you like taking off, extending, being in the air controlled, and also being in the landing. Because I ride in a position that's so applicable to jumping, it comes naturally to me. But if you're riding and you generally ride in a tall position, relying on leaning, this leaning posture isn't going to be good for jumping. If I'm coming off a jump straight like this and I try to go and bring my legs up, look at how that's stopping me. But watch what happens when I add a slight bit of hinge in my upper body. Now I can bring my legs up all here. And this is the pivot point. If I'm straight back as I squat down, I'm not going to be able to reposition, I'm falling, I'm stiff. If I'm going overextended, I'm straight over my board, I can't bring up those legs. But by letting the chest come forward in correlation to the hips going back, we have a full spectrum of movement where as I drop down, I'm dropping down more and more to my knees, and as I lift up, I'm lifting more and more to my knees. So what you want to find isn't one position that you're trying to hit perfectly every time. Instead, it's a position that if it's 20% more bent, it still works. If it's 20% more extended, it still works. 20% more rotation still works. And 20% more closed off, it's still working on a spectrum. This increases our room of air and our room of flexibility. So I want you to go and practice this position, being strong, and then popping without leaving it. Shifting your weight back and then forward without leaning it, activating rotation and closing without leaving this position. By getting a full 360-degree movature in this position, it will make it so you can jump and use these jumping principles that I've been teaching in all my videos effectively. And if you can get yourself riding this position naturally, you'll be literally training your jumps without ever going into the air. So with that in mind, let's look at these jumps one more time. What's going on here? He's too squared off with his shoulders. He's jumping with both legs at the same time without enough extension, causing a two-footed jump and causing the upper body to go and get disconnected, and he's needing to go and really hinge his upper body forward to compensate, causing him to go and be unbalanced in the air and not in control heading the landing. Let's look at this one. What's happening? My toe side position is flexible spectrum, and even on my heel edge, see how my upper body comes forward in correlation to that heel edge, still maintaining a powerful position to jump. And then as I pop, I go and wait to open my chest. This is so important. You don't need to be going and doing all of your complex movements before getting to the jump. You can do it as you're extending. So I'm opening my chest as I extend to go and sink up into that landing. And then I'm being really patient to hit the grab. Every jump works best if you wait until after your tail snaps off the end before trying to add any movements in the air. It's one of those things. If you try to go and add a movement before getting into the air, you're risking messing up your takeoff. Here, just holding this nice strong position, slightly over the back foot, hardly extending my legs at all, and then shifting over. And that's really the power here. We don't need massive extension. We don't need big movements. Look at how still I am. Look at how subtle these motions are. Sure, you can add more motion, more power, more speed to go and get more noticeable results, but the actual base of jumping is all about just a slight shift. The more power you add, the more you'll get out of it, but you sure don't need much power. The most important thing is having a position that works on the takeoff, in the air, and on the landing without making any changes. When you can find your position that goes and works for all three stages of this jump, and then you can go and expand it, make it more flexible so you can have a little bit of room for air for extension, a little bit of room for air for subtraction, rotation. That's how you get a powerful jump base. That's how they become approachable, and that's how you can start tackling the mountain with control and style. So for anyone watching at home, I highly recommend practicing this at home, going on the mountain and practicing it. You can go and work on these principles on side hit, bumps, or just carving the mountain. Find your position that works with this realm of flexibility, and it's going to make you such a better jumper. I'll be making way more videos on topics like this throughout the winter when I have more footage, and I'm very excited, but in the meantime, hopefully this suffices.